Hello everyone, Tisha here with Keto Helpline. Decided I'm going to do a real quick video, talk about something that's pretty simple that I get a lot of questions about on a regular basis. And I thought instead of trying to type something up and responding to a bunch of individual people, I would just make something really simple, short and sweet to talk about this particular topic. I do have another video that's already been posted on YouTube on my channel that talks a little bit about the fact that people really never skip this and kind of goes a little bit more into detail, but this is going to be something really short and sweet. So what is this about? This is really just about breakfast. What breakfast is, what breakfast means, what that term actually refers to, especially when you're living a keto lifestyle. So that's what we're going to talk about. So before I get started though, if I could ask you to do me a favor, and please, if you're not already a subscriber of my channel, please make sure you subscribe. And if you want to get notified of when I'm actually posting different types of videos, the best thing to do is to hit that little bell icon, and then that way you can get notification whenever I happen to post something new that might be of interest to you. So let's go ahead and get started. So let's talk about breakfast. First of all, most of us grew up with being taught that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. And while breakfast is an important meal of the day, what I think that has happened over decades of time of using this term for breakfast is that people have started to equate breakfast with a certain time of day and a certain type of food, instead of just looking at breakfast as what it's supposed to be, which is simply the first meal of the day, which is breaking your fast from the prior day. So if you ate dinner at 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock at night on Monday, and then the next day, Tuesday, you wake up and you have a meal, that would be breakfast. It doesn't matter if that meal is eaten at 4 o'clock in the morning, 11 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, whenever that first meal is, that is technically what breakfast is. So I kind of want to clear that up a little bit. So I usually use the term first meal of the day instead of breakfast because there seems to be so much confusion as to what breakfast actually is. I still hear so often from people, oh, I skip breakfast every day. No, you just don't eat in the morning. That doesn't mean you skip breakfast, because you do eventually eat and you do eventually break your fast. It just happens to be at a different time of day. So when I mention breakfast or when I talk about the first meal of the day, just keep in mind, I'm not talking about a time-specific meal, something that's between 5 a.m. and 10:30 a.m. If you go to McDonald's and they used to not have a breakfast menu after 10:30 a.m., that's really what people started to consider breakfast to be at home, that it's a certain time-specific time to eat, and it's not. So that's the first thing I want to address. Number two, there are a number of people who aren't hungry when they get up in the morning, especially as your body starts to get more adapted to keto, and especially when you start listening to your body and eating until you're full, and eating the right kinds of food. You can go longer periods of time without feeling the need to eat. It's really important to think about. And one of the toughest things is that people think they're supposed to eat breakfast because, again, like we've always been taught, you are supposed to have breakfast because breakfast is the most important meal of the day. So you're supposed to have it during breakfast time. Well, again, breakfast is not time specific, and you don't need to eat unless you're hungry. So what do people usually do instead? I'm not hungry when I wake up, so I get myself some black coffee, and then I put ghee or butter and heavy cream in it, and I stir it up, and I have a keto coffee or a bulletproof coffee. Or I need a shake. I have to have some kind of keto shake because I'm just not hungry in the morning, or I just don't have time to eat in the morning, so I have to drink something. So first, before I address either one of those options for breakfast, let me just tell you, I personally am not a fan of anybody drinking their meals. Don't drink your calories. Eat. There's so much research done about just the benefit psychologically, physically, emotionally about actually sitting down at a table and eating food. Actually chewing the food that you're eating actually does a lot to your brain and how it's processing and how it's digesting, as opposed to just slamming a drink that's got 500 or 600 calories in it. And when you make those bulletproof coffees, that's what you're doing. So if you had a chance to eat a steak and eggs or drink a shake, which would you rather have? Now, some people will say, oh, I'd have to drink the shake because there's no way I'm hungry enough to eat eggs and steak. Then don't eat. Don't eat in the morning. Don't eat until you're hungry. So if you get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and you're not hungry until 9:30 or 10 o'clock in the morning, then don't eat anything until 9:30 or 10. Now, if you want to have a cup of coffee, fine, have it black. You want to put a little stevia in it because you want something a little bit sweet. You want to put a splash of creamer in it because you need creamer in your coffee. You can do that too. There's lots of different types of MCT creamers that are great for coffees that are powder format you can use if you don't want to add a bunch of calories to it. But again, you're not required to have a certain number of calories in the morning when you first get up. You're only supposed to consume calories when you're actually eating food because you're hungry. So I don't recommend bulletproof coffees. I don't recommend keto shakes. If you are a person who absolutely 100% must have a keto shake at least sometime during the day, then okay. I'm going to go ahead and put a link in the description about a product that I happen to recommend that I think is great. That you can use that at least is set up to be keto friendly. It has your macros that are set up with the right portions of fat, the right portions of protein, the right portions of carbs, and that's fine. So now let's talk about some other options then. So if you wake up in the morning and you are hungry and you're following keto, what are some things you can have for breakfast? There are so many options available to you. There are, if you're used to having cereal in the morning and you want cereal, there's some great keto cereals. I'm happy to share some information about those if you'd like to give those a shot. If you're not a cereal person, but maybe you're a yogurt person, there are some ways to be able to consume some yogurt and some fruits. I personally don't recommend it. I think the best things that you can do when it comes to the first meal of the day, regardless of the time of day it is you want to focus on proteins and fats, and you don't want to eat carbs. Carbs are going to be your yogurts, your fruits, your cereals, things like that. You're not going to want to eat those. You want to fuel your body with protein and fat so you have the energy for the day. If you're going to have any types of carbs, and include them towards the end of the day with your dinner meal, would be the best way to be able to consume those without getting yourself too drained out with the carbs being consumed early in the morning. So what I usually have, I have steak, I have ground beef, I have eggs, I have shredded chicken, ground turkey, anything you can put into a scramble. I love hard-boiled eggs, which are really great. You can fry your eggs, you can scramble them, you can poach them, you can make them into an omelet, you can do whatever it is that you want to be able to do. You can also have bacon. Just make sure you're watching out for the nitrates and nitrites, and also sugar. Lots of bacon is going to be coated in some type of brown sugar, so you're looking for sugar-free bacon, turkey bacon, beef bacon. Again, it's processed. It's not the best thing to have, but again, it's something. If you like eggs and bacon, great. If you want eggs and steak, great. You want eggs and lox, fantastic. You don't want eggs, then don't have them. But again, in my keto helpline group, I have a how to make a keto meal, and explains to you exactly what proteins to select, what fats to select for which meal, when to add your carbs, what types of carbs to add, and it helps you plan out your meals. I'm not real big on telling you exactly what to eat because I like things differently than you do. I like liver. A lot of people don't. I eat it raw. A lot of people won't. But I have that for breakfast every morning, and it gives me a ton of energy, and I feel great, and I'm not going to stop eating it. So you might not want to have 3 ounces of liver when you get up in the morning, and that's okay. But I give you other options in my How to Create a Keto Plan so that you can choose the foods that you like and make sure that you're going to consume those. So that's really all I have for right now. If you have any other questions about what are some great ideas for breakfast, please reach out to me. Just start to change the way you think about breakfast. Remember, breakfast is not time specific. Breakfast is not tied to certain types of foods. Breakfast is simply the first meal of your day. No matter what time of day it is that you're eating it, whether you eat your first meal at 4 a.m., 10 a.m., 3 o'clock in the afternoon, whenever it is, that first meal of the day is an important meal. You are breaking your fast, and you want to make sure you're fueling your body with the right types of foods. If you have any questions, please make sure you reach out to me. Again, I'm Tisha with the Keto Helpline, and I definitely appreciate you guys following. Please make sure you tell a friend. Thanks so much. Have a great one. Bye-bye.